Listen, listen, listen. I'm a seller, you're a seller, we're all sellers. But one of the things that sales reps need to do, and I feel this is key. I've worked with many different sellers, coached them, but it's organizing, keeping themselves organized in a way that they can maximize their efforts and do the things that they are born to do, which is to bring new business in. And on today's episode, we're going to talk to you about a simple strategy you can take advantage of that can help you to become more productive. It's good. Hey, everyone. Welcome to another great episode of the Sales Evangelist Podcast. I'm your host, Donald Kelly, the Sales Evangelist, and I'm so excited for another great episode. I'm so excited to be here with you and that you're joining us here on TSE TV, on YouTube. If you're listening to this podcast and you're not seeing my face, do something about that. Go ahead and go to YouTube and search for the Sales Evangelist or Donald C. Kelly and check out our videos. And like our page, I guess subscribe to our page and like some of our videos and hit the chime and we'll notify you whenever we produce a new episode. Just like this one. Today we have Brittany Joiner on the podcast. And Brittany, she is a productivity expert. I think it's fair enough to say that. She has worked tremendously with organizations and coaches over the years. And in particular, she is a partner, a part of the team at Crumble. Not a partner per se, but Brittany is a part of their marketing team and helps to get Crumble out and about. And full disclosure, Crumble is sponsoring this podcast episode as well as they're friends of ours as well. They produce some great content. And they have a great tool. If you want to check it out, you can find all the details below. But Brittany's going to talk today, not necessarily about Crumble per se. We'll dab about that a little bit, but we're going to talk about how Trello could be used by a sales rep to become even more productive. You're going to love it. It's fun and it's effective. My team adopted it and we use it internally and it's been a game changer. Anyways, let's go ahead and listen to what Brittany has to share. Welcome to the show, Brittany.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Of course. And spoiler alert, Brittany is some of our friends, part of the team with our friends over at Crumble. So we're excited to talk today about that. But beyond Crumble, Brittany has years of experience working with Trello, and our team adopted Trello internally. And I can tell you, I wish I could bring my project manager on right now, and she probably will tell you the same exact thing, how it's like made our life so much easier. And then we're able to focus more on the sales activities that are going to drive the results. So thank you. I love it. And I'm excited for you to hear about it. But before we dive into all the fun stuff, I bragged about Brittany in the teaser as well as a little bit there. So Brittany, why don't you take the stage for a little bit and tell us a little bit more about you and what you do?
Yeah, sure. So I'm a self-proclaimed Trello nerd. I've been using Trello for probably about 10 years, and I'm a huge productivity nerd. So that's what kind of really started all of this. I work full-time in marketing. I'm learning programming on the side, but productivity is like a huge passion of mine. And ever since I was a kid and saw the original Cheaper by the Dozen with Frank Gilbreth, and he's got like his daughter's like timing him to see if it's faster to like button your shirt from the top to bottom and like which way's faster. I was fascinated by that, and was always kind of like, ooh, that means there's all sorts of things we can try to figure out how to do faster and more efficiently. So that kind of has been a theme throughout my life. And in the last 10 years, I've started using a tool called Trello, which we're going to talk a lot about today, and have used it to organize all sorts of pieces of my life. And it's just been a great way to really keep track of all of my things in one place and keep others involved with what's going on. And it has helped me be able to accomplish all the things that I do.
That is so cool. I'm really fascinated that you brought up the story about Cheaper by the Dozen. So I remember watching the original one. I mean, not the original, the remade one back in high
Steve
school.
Martin one.
Yeah, and that was fun. But I think we need to link back to the original in the show notes so folks like myself can go and watch the real deal.
Yeah. I'll see if I can find it. So it's like a really old movie. Like,
yeah.
And I don't know anyone else who's like actually seen it. Like everyone else like thinks about the comedy with Steve Martin in it. And it's like that's a good one too.
Yep, but it brings up a good point though that you're saying that everything that we do can be optimized to be performed at a better level or better scale. And as a sales rep, sales leader, or business owner, I feel that's the same mentality that we need to have with our sales. If we get to the point where we get complacent, then we're screwed. So we're going to dig into this a little bit. But before we get into all of that, why don't we talk about Trello in general and just general productivity? Because I feel, especially right now, many people are throwing off their guard with the whole pandemic. The way that we operated 6 months ago is
For sure.
drastically changed. But how can we, let's talk about productivity in general and how Trello can help us with that. Is that cool?
Yeah, for sure. So I think the most important thing to know about productivity in general is there is not really a productivity in general. I think so many people think there's some like magic bullet tip that's like,
Dang
oh,
it.
when I do this, like I'm going to get so much done. But that in and of itself is the general tip, is that you have to, it's a little bit different for everyone, and you have to be willing to try and experiment different things and see what works and what doesn't. And so, common productivity advice, you have to, wake up early in the morning. That's not for everybody. Some people are
Mhm.
night owls and actually are more productive in the evenings. And you don't have to, force yourself to be any certain way or the other. So I think now is like a really interesting time where people are getting to work from home who weren't typically able to do that before. And that probably the biggest opportunity with that, like, don't get me wrong, there's lots of challenges, but the biggest opportunity is to be able to set your work around how you want to do it. And I
Yeah.
understand that doesn't not necessarily true if you have kids at home while you're trying to work. There's some added barriers there. But, it's a great way to be able to experiment with, like, ooh, if I eat lunch at this certain time, or, if I have no coffee or more coffee, like, you're able to try different things. You're able to try time blocking, different things. And there's less interruptions of people walking up to your desk and bothering you while you're in the middle of like focusing on something. So, yeah, I encourage people to just try out a bunch of different stuff. Like that's what you really have to do, and, see what helps you actually accomplish more.
And, I agree with you with the idea there. You work according to your own pace. Not everyone is exactly the same. And going back to the thought that you shared as well regarding the the idea of, always looking for ways to optimize. I think many organizations just stumbled upon this with,
Yeah.
allowing people to work from home. And listen, if I have a team member and that team member can work from 8 p.m. to 2 a.m. and that's their thing, and they're able to get the work done during that time period, I don't care. Just get
Yeah.
it done. And I think that's the key, and that's
Exactly.
crucial. Everyone needs to be optimized according to what works best for them. So moving into this idea though of saying, productivity, increasing our sales productivity, or just moving into Trello in general, how does Trello help us with general productivity?
Yeah. So Trello helps with general productivity because I can't remember who it might be a David Allen thing, but somebody said the mind is for generating ideas, not for holding on to them. And
Ah,
I don't think we realize how much like bandwidth we have inside our heads just trying to keep track of stuff. So
mm,
Trello comes into play with letting you have a way to organize all of that stuff that's in your head, so your brain can be more focused on thinking creatively and connecting dots and solving problems rather than holding information. So Trello is a digital whiteboard. So that's the way I like to think of it. It's a digital whiteboard with lists and sticky notes on steroids. So like each card is basically a sticky note that, like, to the max. So picture, looking in on your office wall, there's a whiteboard there. There's lists of, different things maybe it's a to-do list of to do, doing, and done. There's a sticky note of this task you need to do. You can add checklists to it, due dates, members, labels. There's automation pieces you can add on top of it. There's like so much you can do with it, but at its essence, it's a digital whiteboard for holding all of your ideas and organizing them so you can access them when you need to and leave your brain to do the real work.
yeah. I like the idea of that digital whiteboard, and also taking those things out of your head and putting them down. I think one of the things that hold me back at times when it comes, because I have a whiteboard here in this office and we have whiteboards. I just love whiteboards. I think I just collect too much whiteboards. Maybe it was some kind of fetish as a kid that I wanted to write on a wall, but now I can, I'm totally fine to do that with the with the
It's true. You
whiteboard.
can write on the walls now.
But there comes a thing though where I find sometimes I have these great ideas or a way to optimize my selling or to do something different, and I just keep it in my head. And then next thing you know, 2 days later, I forget, and I'm like, "What in the world happened? What was that thing?" I thought about, if I was to maybe on a call with a prospect, I found if I was to do this while, this kind of type of LinkedIn search, then I would have a better effect. And I could easily, and I think the way I like to see it is like, imagine as your sales process, if you had your sales process on that whiteboard, so to speak, and then you could interject these new strategies or these new tasks within it, then you can visually see it and it can help you to go through that process as opposed to just like thinking, well, what worked last time? You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, and that's exactly how I use Trello. So probably the thing I'm most known for on Trello is my sort of like taking in what's called an agile sort of approach to my to-do list,
Oh,
which we can go on a whole thing about that. But it's basically the concept of, saying here, my life is kind of a sprint. So each week I have what's called a sprint where
mhm.
I decide here's what I'm working on this week, here's what I want to get done, and moving it over through lists of to do, doing, and done. And so everything starts though in what's
Repeat those
called
three
my
things. To
to
do.
do, doing, and done.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And those are the three main lists. But the list before that is actually called my, I used to call it backlog. Now I call it idea inbox. But it's exactly
Ah,
what you're saying. So what it would be is, let's say right now, I come up with some sort of idea. Rather than adding it to a sticky note on my desk that I'm probably going to lose, or even rushing to add it to like my daily to-do list of like, oh, I need to accomplish this today because whatever it is, I don't want to lose it, but I probably don't need to accomplish it today. What I do is I just add it to my idea inbox, and it's its own card. And so each week when I'm trying to figure out, cool, what am I going to work on this week? I look through that backlog/idea inbox and
mm.
pick out what is the most important, what things are going to bring the most value. Like, is there anything that's like time sensitive? Like this, this is happening at a very specific time, this podcast recording. So, and then I organize that, and that's what sets me up for the week. So, starting Monday morning, I've got a list right in front of me of what to focus on for this week. And I know I can drag it over into doing when I'm working on it. And then if let's say I'm held up on something, I have a label that I add called waiting. So at any given time, if I'm like, what should I be working on right now? I can quickly see, like right now, I've got it up right now. I can see what's, sitting here and to do, doing, and done. I know exactly what to work on, start grabbing that. I know, oh, I'm waiting on this thing. I need to go ping that person and make sure I can get what I can from it.
Now, how does it feel once you get something in that done pile?
Oh, it's amazing. It's amazing. And it's even more amazing now that Trello has this new feature where if you add, I think I have a firework, but I think there's another emoji. If you add it to the title of the list, anytime a card is moved over into it, it like sprinkles confetti across the screen. So like, it was amazing before, but it's even more amazing now. It's a great feeling. It's a great feeling. And I actually clean it out every week. So it's not like a list of all the things I've ever done in my life ever. And in some iterations of it, I don't have it anymore, but when I first started doing this, I actually made another list after it called Yay, where I
Yeah.
would just drag over like things that were like memorable. Like the first time, like I wrote a blog post on the Trello blog, or, the first time I like launched a website, like different sort of things that I wanted to be able to remember, rather, because it's kind of disappointing when it's like, you got this card to like build a website, you do it, it's in done, you move it over to done, the fireworks go off, it's cool. And then you just archive it. Like, and so that used to, I was like, no, we need to document those. So that was the way I kept track of that.
That's so awesome. Yeah. And now you're getting me excited for that confetti.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's amazing. It's amazing. It's like one of those things that when I think about like UI, that was probably not very difficult to implement. Maybe it was, but like it's a game changer for sure.
Yeah, because it gives you that gratification, right? Because then now once
Exactly.
you want to do it again because you want to see that, and that's going to be triggered by something going in the done pile. So
Right.
you're going to
Exactly.
put your work into it. Thinking about this from the sales perspective, what are some of the biggest challenges you find with individuals that have to sell, entrepreneurs or sales rep, when it comes towards their productivity?
Yeah, so I think the biggest challenge is for sure being able to take something and apply it across the board,
Hmm.
because I think for a lot of them, what they're trying to do is, to your point, you actually made a great example of this earlier, where you were like, I saw that somebody do this thing on LinkedIn, and now I want to try it with like everyone, and
Yeah.
so it's very difficult to, first of all, measure those sort of things, but it's also difficult to sort of like manage and apply specific things to everyone. So let's say, you find this tactic that works and you do want to try. It's hard to be consistent with each person you're following up with and reaching out with. But I know like one of the things in Trello is you can add a checklist to a card that
Hmm.
is and make it a very like, you could call it lead follow-up checklist, for instance. And that's a type of thing that every card you apply it to will have that same checklist. So you don't have to worry about like, oh, I did this with this person, but I forgot I need to do this with this person as well. Like if you have a standard sort of process, you can easily put it in there as well, and make sure each person's going through that. And so I find that to be, pretty helpful. I think another thing is, I'm not in sales, but a lot of those people I've worked with in sales tend to like, they want to be selling and not do like admin work. I think that's probably true. Donald's raising his hand here. Yes. I mean, and I think that's probably true for most people, not even just specifically sales, and that's where I think being able to find ways to automate things and like have reminders for things. So one of the things I like most about Trello is the card repeater power up. So what you can do is say, basically make this card and say, every week I want this to pop up on my board on Monday, which is great for when you have like weekly tasks that you need to do, or even daily tasks. So I use that one for lots of things. But it's really helpful way to make sure like, oh, I don't want to forget about this thing. Let me go do it. Check it off my list.
Yeah. And you know what I like about this too, Brittany, is that some people are not too, they're not too versed with their calendar. They don't use the calendar pretty well. But if this could be a way to keep you on track, I mean, by all means, do that. Because I'm thinking about like prospecting. Everyone needs to prospect or should prospect every single day. I mean, I coach and tell people at least put that hour in. If you're a sales rep, you just do it. Set apart that time. But imagine if you had that board or your that card then that's going to pop up every single day. Prospect or give you that at a set period of time. You need to prospect today. I mean, that will help you to stay on track, and you just have to move that into your productivity. I mean, your doing pile, or you're done, or whenever you finish it. But that's one way I look at it. Or even LinkedIn, go and interact. Sometimes we all have those LinkedIn profiles that seem like it's a paperweight, where we don't use it. We collect in contacts like Pokemon cards. But what if we were to use those by actually
Good analogy.
engaging?
I like that.
Yeah, I mean, I think salespeople love it. I use it all the time. I just really feel that it's like Pokemon cards. I want to build a connection, build my network. What the world is your network if you don't have, if you don't
what are you
talk
doing
to the
with
people?
it?
Yeah, I had a guy reach out to me the other day, and he mentioned that I honestly didn't remember him. And then he was like, we met at this conference, and then he sent me a picture, and I was like, oh yes. And I just felt so horrible. He probably didn't think too much about it. For me, I felt like I didn't cherish that connection enough. But what if I had something like on my a Trello board or a notification to remind me daily to connect with 5 people in my network? I can go through that probably in like 6-8 months or even a year, but I will be connecting with people more so than I would if I just send them out to one. If I didn't touch them at all, and then it would be a waste of the network. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. And that's a great idea. And it's that's another sort of thing I do a lot in Trello is habit tracking. I have a blog post I wrote about that we can link to, but what you're building there is a small habit within sales. And so, there's tons of different things that you can do with that. And that's actually kind of one of the ways I approach a lot of projects and things I want to do in my life. Like when I have like goals, I don't necessarily, it's not to me about an end so much as like an action that's kind of like ongoing. So for me, like, a physical fitness goal isn't so much to like, hit a specific number on the scale or like even be able to like lift a certain amount of weights. It's more about establishing a habit of, showing up like, working out or drinking, 3 bottles of water a day or, whatever it is. And so, and building those habits, that's what leads to success for whatever your goal is, more so than saying, it's the thing I want to do right there. I want to connect with lots of people on LinkedIn, or like, I want to like leverage my LinkedIn contacts. Like, it's better to say, like you said, every week I'm going to connect with, this many people or something.
Yeah, I feel that makes it a little bit more genuine. When it's said and done. I want to also go back. Are there any other ideas that you have that we can use or implement to become more productive from sales standpoint?
Yeah. So obviously one of the biggest ones that comes to mind is managing your contacts. And those of you who listen to the show have been hearing the adverts for Crumble and how we're able to use that to manage your contacts, move them through your sales pipeline, and report on them. And what's really interesting about this is the reason I'm on the Crumble team is that they approached me because I had written a blog post about how to build a CRM out of Trello a couple of years ago. It's one of the most common things I think I've been asked by a lot of people is like, can I build like a CRM to like manage my contacts in Trello? And I ended up writing a blog post for Trello about it because I've been asked so many times, and I found a way to do it. And I was like, yeah, you can do this and do this and do this. And it's like, it worked. It wasn't like the greatest sort of solution. And it's not something that I would have been like, yeah, this is better than, something else you could use out there. This is better than a spreadsheet or, but it worked. But what was funny, like a lot of people still wanted it. Like they wanted like the visual sort of aspect of being able to organize their contacts and the checklists and stuff. So it worked. And then the Crumble team basically was like, well, we see the need out there for this, so let's try to improve it. So they basically built what I was describing without, except now it's out of the box. So instead of you having to go read through my blog post and say, oh, this, you can connect this with Zapier and then you can make this do that. Like it's all out of the box with Crumble. And it's like, you just turn it on and it sets up your lists to be your deal stages. You can customize those. Each contact is a card. You can import them from CSV if you've already got it somewhere. You can set it up automatically to sync with your form. So if you have a Google form or literally as of this morning, type form, you can connect contacts that are coming through a type form. Yeah,
that is so cool. That is freaking cool. Sorry, I got excited.
It goes right in there now. Yeah, because you use Typeform for podcast stuff, right?
Yeah, because now that's going to so we use Crumble and we use Trello. So when somebody signs up to come on a podcast, they go on a Excel document right now, and then we go through that evaluation process. But now you're going to create a card for me. My team is going to come and kiss your face.
Yes, exactly. It's perfect. It goes right through, straight to the Trello board. So yeah, it's awesome. And I mean, it's something that, like I said, like you technically could have built some of these aspects before, but it was so much work and it was really clunky. And this is like such a smooth experience. And one of the pieces I hadn't solved before was reporting, because everybody wants to know like what percentage of my leads are closing. And well, like, again, I didn't really have a great way to do that before, but Crumble solved that problem with beautiful, like, visualizations where you literally just click dashboard and it will show you a funnel, and you can, say, oh, show me percentages from, this stage to this stage. And let me filter that by date. And, let me see what that looks like by this view and whatnot. And so it's amazing. It's a great way. I don't know how anybody was managing contacts before this, but, it's huge. And it goes from, instead of you having to, if you don't like admin work, instead of you having to organize your spreadsheet or whatever else you're trying to do to keep track of, oh, when did I follow up with this person? Or like, where are my leads? Or how's this at? It's all right there in Trello. You just open up for the day and you can see, tasks, what you need to do. You can see where everyone's at. And so it lets you get back to selling and away from having to, fill out arbitrary things in a spreadsheet.
Oh man, I love that. I think we need to put that as our, the click to tweet or something, but it lets you get back to selling. It lets you get back to selling and not those arbitrary things, because none of us like it. You started off the conversation by asking that question, who likes, who wants to do more selling? And I feel that's where we all tie back to. And going back to the great thing about, with sales productivity, whether you're using Crumble or whatever CRM, what I like about it too is the fact that it just keeps you on track. I feel the biggest place where sales reps, when I coach sales people and I talk to them and work with them, one of their biggest distraction is our computer, because you have, on your phone, you have your notification, you have all types of stuff coming from LinkedIn, your emails, and it can be the death of you, right? Where everyone from your team members and internal and external people, that's a new word for the day. External emails and people talking to you, and those can distract you from your day-to-day task. But being able to stay on track, accomplishing that's where it comes in. I think a lot of it ties back to self-discipline, but having a tool like this will definitely keep you going. And the other cool thing about Crumble too, what I like about it, is that you can start off using it, you could test it out. And that's what I feel that many of you listening, you can easily do. Test out the tool, because you can start off for, I think it's a very inexpensive start off, right? Like
So right now it's free. It's free. We're still working on it, and so working on the pricing model and what that's going to look like. But like right now it's completely free. And what we'll probably end up doing is a model that's like priced based on like volume, so it's kind of scales with you sort of thing. So but there's always going to be a free version of it for sure. So feel free to try it out. The team is super involved and like loves feedback. So first of all, if you have any questions, there's a huge support community. Like we actually, first of all, have a Facebook group that you can join and you can, ask questions in there. I'll give you the link to that. And then we also have, there's, the Trello has their own Atlassian community where people are posting questions and things. So, and then aside from that, you can literally email, hello@crumble.com, and the team hops on there to respond. And like, they're setting up calls with people, like one-on-one, like getting on like a Zoom to kind of talk through stuff setting up here, because they're so interested in like people's feedback and helping with this and like turning it into like something that's actually useful. So by all means, definitely check it out and like reach out to us, and like happy to walk you through it and figure out, does this work for your use case? Like, and I'm happy to think through ways like, what else can I do on top of Crumble to use this Trello board to like the max to make it useful. Like, just another tip I'm thinking of now is there's the card aging power up that will turn a card a certain color if you haven't interacted with it in a specific time. And so it's a great way. You can literally just log into your leads board and immediately see, oh shoot, this card color means I haven't reached out to them in a while. Like, oh man, I really need to reach out to that lead. Like, it's basically kind of like heat mapping almost for your contacts, so you can see who's been reached out frequently or recently or not. So
that's really neat, because now you look at say like an individual who is getting these leads or coming in. You could probably set that up for like, say, 24 hours. If a lead comes in from say, Typeform, maybe somebody submits something on your website or fill out a registration form, that person should be responded to within 24 hours. And that could easily be, something that you could do. I mean, there's so many different use cases. Guys, I wish we could stay forever talking to Brittany, but I'm sure she has more important things to do on her Trello board than to sit here and talk to us, right?
No, this is fun though. This is awesome. And definitely like, I would love for people to reach out to me. I love to nerd out and chat about this stuff. So, I'm sure we're going to share all my info and stuff. Happy to chat more about this. And I love nerding out and solving problems like this.
Well, if there's one major takeaway you'd like somebody listening to this episode to walk away with, what's that one major piece of advice?
Ooh, that's a good one. Maybe like, try things out. Don't be afraid to like try something out and see if it works, and if it doesn't, and iterate from there. I think that's a good piece of advice for sales, personal productivity, everything. Don't feel like you have to have everything all organized in a row before you take action. Take some sort of action, see what worked and didn't work about it, and then iterate from there.
Love it. Now we're going to go to the contact. So if folks want to get in touch with you, or to learn from you, or jump on a call with you, or to check out Crumble, or just get your advice on their Trello board, what's the best way for them to go about doing so?
Yeah, so probably the best way is to reach out to me on Twitter. If you're on Twitter, I'm pretty active there. My handle is @Britt, BRITT_Joiner, JOINER. Reach out to me there. You can also find me on my website, BrittanyJoiner.com. And there's a contact form on there. You can find my email and reach out to me through there. So that's another way to get in touch too.
Awesome. Well, Brittany, we appreciate you taking the time to come on the show. We appreciate you sharing your wisdom. We appreciate you helping us out to improve our productivity, specifically around sales. So thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This is fun.
That was Brittany Joiner. And if you want to join and connect with Brittany, you can find all of the information down below here on on TSE TV on YouTube. I'm saying USA. TSE TV on YouTube. You can find all the details down below. Also, go ahead and connect with Brittany. Tell her that you heard about her on the Sales Evangelist podcast. Check out some of the cool things she's doing with Trello, as well as check out Crumble. It's a fantastic tool, amazing power up, and it makes your life so much easier. If you want to find all the details, a little bit more in depth about our show notes, just if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, swipe up on a cover art. You'll see the details. If you're watching this on YouTube on TSE TV, then you could just simply click on the links and go back to our show notes. Our team does a fantastic job. I bring on folks like Brittany. I share stuff like this because I've been in your shoe and I want to help. We're dedicated to helping you as a sales rep to produce the best yield of your talent, the best yield, best performance, best revenue of your career. We want to help you with that. We want you to find more of those ideal customers. We want you to know what to say when you actually reach out to them. We want to help you to close more deals. But most importantly, we want to challenge you to go out each and every single day, beat the status quo, and do big things. Thanks so much for watching. Hey, thanks so much for taking the time to watch this video today. If you enjoyed the content, I ask you to go ahead and hit that like button, that thumbs up in the bottom right-hand corner. Also, to make sure to subscribe if you haven't done so already. This way, we'll keep you up to date with all the latest sales strategies, latest tools, and things that are going to help you to not only find more prospects, but to close more deals. Thanks so much.